What is up, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Camera Junkie live stream. My name's Luis, also known as Mr. Camera Junkie, where I remind you, as always, to upgrade your skills before your gear. And if it's your first time here, welcome. Please be sure to introduce yourself into the chat so you can get the nice Camera Junkie Crew welcome. And as the tradition goes around here, the first thing that I always do is to go ahead and check out to see who are the first members of the crew hanging out in the chat. So let's go ahead and do that. Where's my mouse cursor here? Right, we got a lot of people hanging in here early. We got Mookie saying hello. Let the big show begin. Let's go. We also got Gretchen saying happy Saturday to myself. The crew, Aiden is hanging out in the back and he's having a blast right now. Like, I found a new content creator in the children's space, an Australian educational lady named Miss Moni, and like no knock on Miss Rachel because she's amazing and she's been the GOAT for a long time, but Miss Moni is got Aiden's attention as of late, and I've been enjoying the fact that he's having so much fun with that content. So shout out to Miss Moni. We also have Parker Jennings in the house saying hello to everyone. How are you doing, sir? Randy's here as well. It says it seems a lot of videos about red. If they're coming from me, then yeah, because it just so happens to be that with my new camera I decided to splurge a little bit, and that's what we're going to be talking about in a little bit. We also got Paul saying greetings. How are you doing? Randy, of course, saying hello to everyone. Everybody's saying what's up to each other. We got K-Wall in the house as well, saying hi to the crew. So it says, who else here is already scanning for the hidden items? Well, they're in play today. Okay, so let's see what you guys guess is going. And Mr. Matt Haas's thumbs up didn't get selected last week, so that one's worth 2 points this week. And I'm doing my best, but you guys, I'm gonna be honest, there's been a lot on my plate as of late, and I'm gonna be getting all of the things together, but you know, with Doc Rock and everything like that, I think I'm going to be integrating my transcripts from all of my live streams into Notion, because I was doing that inside of ChatGPT, and every time I open ChatGPT, it tells me my memory is full because it couldn't take all of the transcripts from all of my episodes. I think it took about 100 of the 250 something that we have. So I'm gonna be doing that in Notion to have an AI have a more broader or more in-depth catalog of the transcripts of what's happened here in the live stream, so that I can ask it questions, because I need it. Like, I need to make a list of all of the city's gauze, right? Because I was checking one out earlier today and I was like, I think I did this content creator before, and I know I've doubled up on some before because, hey, maybe there's some new people and things like that, but I'm trying to expand the list as much as possible. But I also don't want to make one content creator hit the city's got like 3 times. But let's continue to check out to see who's hanging out. And Mookie's also saying that Gretchen has probably also spotted 1 or 2 of them. Hey, this is a pleasant surprise. Sup? How are you doing, Mr. Vols? Wow, so good to see you here. Thanks for hanging out and making the time to hang out with us on a Saturday night. And Gretchen says, yeah, she is scanning. All right. So this is also a time where I remind you, because I forget myself, to hit the thumbs up if you haven't done so already. DM Colorist is in the house. How you doing, sir? Thanks for hanging out just the same. Well, we're going to be talking about the new piece of gear, right, that I purchased this week. Um uh Bit of an impulse buy, but it was too good of a deal, and I think I really lucked out. So, today's topic is my new eight Red Pro cinema lens, and it's my first cinema lens, PL mount, because I had no real need prior to owning my new Red camera. But the funny thing is that the first thing that I did is that I didn't put it on my Red camera because I didn't want to remount my PL mount onto my Red camera. So if I go to this shot over here, just to show you, I still have my M42 setup on the Red with, the whole setup, so that I can have all the interchangeable lenses on my all of my vintage M42 lenses. And one of the ones that I did was my zoom lens, and we can talk about that a little bit later. But I didn't throw the PL mount onto the Red camera. What I did was I picked up an adapter for Sony cameras to the PL, and then I threw it directly onto the FX30. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump to that shot real quick so that we can see what we're talking about. And bam, this is the FX30 with the new Red 18mm T1.8 cinema lens. Now, this is the story about this lens. I actually was just combing to see what was available in PL and see what was affordable, right? And everything in PL mount basically starts at around $900 and starts shooting up. And for the quality of glass that you're getting, I understand it, especially when you're paying, $1,400 to $1,700 for, G Master lenses on the Sony digital cameras. So but when you're shooting into the cinema, the prices jump up dramatically and very fast. So I was just trying to find something that was more than what I had created with the 3D printing as far as PL mount. So I was just looking, and as I'm scavenging through all of the used sites and things like that, I come across Adorama, and I just put in what was available, and I come across this listing for this lens. This is the crazy thing. The listing didn't have any photos of the lens, and it said that it was in excellent condition, but it had no photos. And for this reason is why I think it was discounted and maybe overlooked. Because if I go on Adorama right now for this same lens with photos, they're charging, like, even it says, like, like scuffed condition, around $700. But I got this for $400, right? For like 450, I think, with the free shipping and stuff like that. And I was just like, you know what? For the T1.8 at 18 millimeters, which is like the most important thing for me, that it was just like super wide, right? Because this Red camera and even the FX30 are APS-C or slash Super 35 cameras. So I didn't need all of the coverage, but it was just a good price. And then I started looking for the same lens on other websites, on MPB and stuff like that, and they were going upwards from $1,200, right? $800, $1,200. And it really had to do with the condition of it on the outside, like how beat up was the lens. But then it started making me think. I was like, but there's still a lot of them available, even if they're beat up, right? So I was like, you know what, let's go ahead and let's take the shot. And I decided to pull the trigger on this lens and see, because at the worst case scenario, I said, if it's really in bad shape or that I don't feel like that I'm gonna use it, I'll be able to return it, right? So there's like that, guarantee of, like, like that you're satisfied, right? Satisfaction guarantee. So I decided to, like I said, pull the trigger. And the first surprise that came to me once it was delivered, and surprisingly, it was delivered super fast. I think I ordered it. It was either like Sunday night or Monday itself. and it was already here at my doorstep on Wednesday. Now check this out. The first thing that was surprising about this lens or the shipping was the box that it came in, because the box was big, and I was just like, the box was big. So once I open this, standard cardboard box, I'm then greeted with another big box, and that's the one that I'm going to show you now, which is the box that this lens came in. Boom. Now take a look at me. That's my size, and this thing rivals, I think, my Vision Pro box. Right? So this is exactly the first impression that I got, and as I was pulling it out, the weight was the second thing that surprised me, and I was just like, what is this thing? And as I opened it up and started taking this lens out, I realized that this thing is a tank. I put it on the scales and it weighs in at 6 pounds 0.26. So I'm guessing 6.25 pounds is this monstrous of a lens, and this thing is humongous. Okay, I sent a picture to Doc and to Brandon right away, and they were looking at me and telling me like, yo, this is like the biggest 18 millimeter lens that I've ever seen. I go, you and I both, because I 100% agreed with him. This thing is massive, and now on the FX30 it is completely front heavy. Like, I can put all the weight, and I will have to extend it just to get leverage because of all the weight that this lens. So I have it on its sticks, on the my carbon fiber rods with lens support, and but I gotta tell you that I'm really liking the image that I'm getting off of it, even on the newer cameras right now, which has nothing to do with the sensor. That is what I feel gives me a really good shot over here on this red camera, right? So as you can see, this is just basically all vintage lens. This is my Diamatic Acura Diamatic 28 millimeter f2.8, and just on the red camera, no extra filters, no nothing. You don't really need it because it's kind of all baked into the image that you're getting from the red cameras. So now imagine taking this sensor and adding it to this lens, right? So now you're gonna get all of that look, but then with this level of sharpness, because what I've noticed right off the bat is that the T stops versus the F stops are dramatically different. And I know that the T stops have always been more accurate, but the lens itself, just because it's just massive, allows so much light. It's just like vacuuming, it's hoovering all this light onto the sensor, that just to get it to adequate levels of exposure, right, compared to this shot right over here, just matching it. This is opened up to like f2.8 or even like f2.5, and this I have stopped down to, or basically the red lens, I have that stopped down to, what is it, like f5.6, just to get the similar type of exposure, which is why you get the extra sharpness, right? You're getting the extra sharpness here because of that effect. But I still think that the image overall is just like stellar. Now I'm gonna go ahead and check out in chat to see what you guys think, but this is, once again, we're looking at the new red, or it's not new, but new to me, red 18 millimeter T 1.8, and this thing's a tank. All right, let me see what you guys are saying over here. Oh, we got some. All right, so we got the thumbs up. Says love the R1, says DM Colorist, but he also says which is the red one. I'm loving it as well, brother. Like, I'm having so much fun with it, and I don't know if you've seen my previous where I've 3D printed so many things for it, including the M42 mount. I got a Nikon mount, and the next one that I'm working on is converting it to the Canon F no FE is Sony, so is the EF mount. So the Canon EF mount, so that I can mount like some more vintage glass. Yeah, I'm excited. I basically dismantled the man. So many things are happening. So let me get my words correct. I dismantled the front end of the red one, and I took off the PL mount, which I have in the box over here. And now, just with the screws, I've created with my 3D printer and my CAD software a variety of different lens mounts. So I'm treating it kind of like, I think it's the Monstro, where you just have 4 screws that you're able to change the mounts from Canon to Sony to so on and so forth. And I'm able to do that now with this red one, and I'm having a lot of fun with it. You understand? And that's why I said I still haven't put back on the PL mount. So I bought the adapter so that I can easily swap it on and off a variety of different, Sony cameras. And even though it's it's a Super 35 lens, that's why I got it on the FX30 instead of like my full frame A7R2. No, A7C2, which is the R's in the back now. All right. And he's saying it's super sharp. Yeah, I'm really liking the image off of it. Now, another thing that I've noticed, and this is the whole thing, I wanted to get the highest form of resolution out of it. I put this and this camera in 4K, and it's broadcasting in 4K. And as soon as I got it in here, I'm really starting to think that the cam links are really not holding up to par, because I'm seeing like this choppiness, right? And if I go over here, oh, wrong way. You see this? No choppiness. Super smooth. Super smooth, but this one's coming in at 1080 30. And that's what's being able to like be handled correctly, like without the choppiness. But as soon as I go to this shot, right, which is the main shot over here, I see the choppiness at 4K 30. Yeah. And then I see it here as well on the FX30. So I mentioned this because I'm actually going to go to the back now that I've seen this, and I'm going to switch both of these cameras to 1080 30 output, or maybe even 1080 60, right? But no, let's just do 1080 30 and see if there's a difference, if you guys see a difference in the image itself, or if Ecamm's upscaling is still going to give you the highest quality video even if you're at the 1080 setting. So let's continue over here. Gretchen says, me too, on the shelf above your head to the left. Ding, ding, ding. That is correct. So if we go to the wide shot over here, saying right up here is the Me Too. As you can see, I tried to hide it because when I first put it up, it was there. And I was like, that's way too obvious. So, I'm trying to be a little sneaky. So that was a good catch, Gretchen. So then we got 1 point there. Successful. Let's go. All right. Yep. He says, very heavy lens though. Borrowed one last year. It says, and did end up getting the 25 millimeter. I was looking at it just because I got this one now. It says the RPP, love that one too. Man, I didn't even know these lenses existed because, like I said, I was starting to look for, I'm in this shot. I was actually looking at, I was asking around. So I was looking at some DZO lenses, some, I believe they're called Xeen. I think that's the way they're pronounced, but it's spelled Xeen. So it's like Xeen lenses. All of these in PL, and they're all fairly priced around the same thing. Those are starting like around $500, but because I had the red camera and it was like kind of an older lens that fit the era, I was like, you know what, let me add this to be part of the kit as well. But now that I have it, I'm having a lot of fun with the lens. But yeah, these things are heavy, man. When I first picked it up, I was like, oh my god. I wouldn't put it on the camera without some type of support, because to put all of that weight onto the FE mount, you know, the E mount from Sony, I think that's a lot. Hey, Carlos is in the house. It says, "What up, fam? Your studio is sweet." Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. I'm liking the way it is right now. It's busy enough, but not too busy, you know, and that's because now I have the space to be able to like spread things out and not just have everything crammed in. So because of it, I'm able to do so. And you know what? Let me go to this shot over here. I'm gonna go to my producer mode, right? And let me go to my webcam over here so that you can see what I did with my lenses there, because that is 3D printing, an IKEA pegboard, and a lot of filament. But I'm really liking the way that I'm able to set up all of my cameras, hang them up there with all of my lenses. And that's the aesthetic. So, like I said, it's busy enough. And then on this side, I have my 3D printing tower. That's there, set, and I got my other computer in the back, just good to go. That desk over there, let's not look at that desk, because that's the working desk, right? This is the cleanish desk, right? But that one back there, that's the working desk. That's the working desk over there. All right. This is the producer mode. There we go. Okay. I could leave the producer mode with this camera on so that I can just have that as a switch there, and we'll leave it there. So thanks for stopping by, Carlos. It's nice to see you here on a Saturday night. Andy VZ, it's been a while. It's been a long time. It says, Hola, desde Venezuela. You see, like Andy VZ, how are you doing, brother? Bienvenido de nuevo. It's been a long time that I haven't seen this name pop up in chat. He goes, desde Venezuela, ¿has usado algún vez un lente de 11 milímetros? Me gusta de tu Yungno. ¿Qué opinas? Lo que yo opino. Well, let me just translate first and foremost. He's basically saying, have I ever used an 11 millimeter lens? And he's looking at the Yungno in 11 millimeters, and what's my opinion on it. My opinion is that Yungno is a decent enough brand, and if you're just looking to get the wide, I would like pull the trigger on the lens. And if it's a Yungno, it's probably gonna be fairly inexpensive. You know, I believe they changed their branding to YN right now. But the same thing. Now, as far as 11 millimeters, I have used some 11 millimeters and some more 12 millimeters. But in these lenses, I've always used them in the APS-C side, or Super 35, which is what I would recommend, where you're going to be getting type of an 18 millimeter field of view with them, depending on the exact camera that you're using. If you're Micro Four Thirds, then you'd be getting a 22 millimeter, and that's the widest that you'd be able to get it. But at that same time, the reason why I like them in the APS-C side is because you're getting a wide enough field of view, but you're not getting a fish eye effect, which is something that I really like about this lens over here. Going back to this cinema lens, because even though this is 18 millimeters wide, with the crop factor, I'm effectively getting a full frame 30 millimeter lens, which is why I was looking for such a wide lens. Because while I add or change all of these different mounts on my red camera over here, um, the crop factor with this and the 28 millimeter lens is giving me more of a like 37, 38 millimeter field of view, right? So it's cropping in a lot more. That's why when we go to that shot, you see it's very tight. So to get a wider view here, and the camera being fairly close from this camera, I wanted to make sure that I maximized it. So once I take this red lens and put it onto this red camera, it's gonna give me an effective field of view of like 29 millimeters, because the red has a 1.64 crop factor, and that's when it's at its most wide using the 4.5 4.5K width of the of the recording sensor. Whenever it's one of these crop factors, if I take it down to 3K anamorphic or anything like that, right, it's cropping in on the sensor itself, which is making the shot even more telephoto, losing all of the wide in the shot itself. That's why I wanted to make sure to get the widest lens that I could for the PL mount, because once I put these two together, I was going to need it. But what I really like about it itself is that it's rectilinear. It doesn't give you a fisheye effect, and that's what I like about the APS-C 11 millimeter lenses, because you have an inherent crop factor. Even though they're a bit bowed out and bubbled out as far as the lenses go, you're cropping into the center, and because of it, you're getting more of a rectilinear image even while you're using them. So there's been a couple. One of them was a zoom 11 to 18 millimeter that I had as well, and they work very well in the APS-C field. So that's my opinion on it. And thank you for the next message, because look what he said. Oh, where did I lost my mouse? Oh, I did. My mouse went to my Mac Mini over there in the back. Yeah, that's why it came off of screensaver. Universal control. Yep. Oh, this is the lens that I'm on right now, right? But let's go back to this. Okay. Yes, and Andy's next comment, it says, "Entiendo bien inglés. Puedes seguir en inglés," which he says, "I understand English and you can continue in English." So I appreciate it very much, so that everybody can be involved. Randy's saying, "I already translated to English." For which camera system? You see, even Randy was trying to answer the question. Says, "No, I gotta check that out. That's cool to 3D print stuff for it. I had the Nikon mount PL mine back in the day." Oh, okay, so you had the Nikon mount and the PL. Yeah, because every one of these cameras comes with the PL. But yo, you know what? Let me show you something else that I'm actually getting into right now, because something that I was attempting on this camera before I fixed it, because I did an entire retrofit mod for it. All right. This is the back of the hard drives that you can buy for the Red camera. So I purchased one, and I do have it disassembled, and I'll explain why. Right? The reason why is because of this connector and the missing piece to this and to the Red camera, and connecting the hard drive to the camera, is that the cable is non-existent and you cannot find it anywhere. So prior to me actually going and fixing the Red by 3D printing these Red media retro mods, so to speak, where, you know what, let me go to the back shot. These drives I'm now able to fit into the back or into the side of the camera. And these are the, what are they? They're the Red mags. Yeah, so these are the Red mags, and I just basically disassembled it, made a 3D printed system or housing for them, so that I can actually use this media instead of using the CF Express cards that came with the system back in the day, which was like the slowest media. And the next step before I actually was able to do this was that I bought the hard drive, but then I got stuck on the fact that I couldn't find the cable. So I went around and I even 3D printed, and I attempted to make my own cables that do fit inside, right? And connect. They got the hard drive to power on, but what it failed to do was actually connect it. And that's when I started learning about the pairing and the twisting, and certain cables needed to be twisted together so the functionality works. And I was just like blown away. So then when I realized that I needed to get that intricate, I kind of felt that my homebrewed self-made 3D printed, you know, like cable wasn't gonna hold up, you know, to scrutiny. So I started searching, and even though, like I said, I fixed the camera and now I have, you know, active media that I could purchase more of if I needed to, but right now I have close to 200 gigs. It's plenty. I actually found the connectors that I needed, which was like super dope. So I ordered 2 of these, and mind you, each one of these connectors, each one of these bad boys was $30. So just on the connectors themselves without any of other hardware is already $60 deep into this. But this is the most important part, if I can get there, is all those beautiful gold pin connectors, right? And it's just like amazing that I was able to find this. Let me see, let that sink in there. Put this here. So I'll be able to basically superimpose the cables once I get the connections correctly, right? And throw those cables in there and then have this connect. And this is the official connector to that. Beautiful. So excited. Like I said, 60 bucks already invested just on the connections, and that has nothing to do with what I've invested on the cables themselves, the shielding, so on and so forth. But I think this is just going to be like a personal milestone for myself. I really don't need to connect these external hard drives at all anymore because I fixed it with this media here, right? But like I said, it's just a personal achievement that I'll be able to knock that out for myself. So that's the plan. Like I said, more than $60 deep into it, and that has nothing to do with the stuff that I've already purchased, but just 60 bucks on the connectors. Super cool. So all right, let me see where we're at. It says the dismantler. My dad used to call me something like that when I was younger. He called me the destroyer, right? Because he thought I destroyed everything. And this story goes back to a Christmas way back in the day. I would say late 80s. Okay. I was young. I got a Walkman, a Sony Walkman for Christmas. Okay. And some of you guys might remember the waterproof one that had like the little latch. It was yellow, you know, the yellow Sony Walkman, old school with the like headphones that look like Marty McFly from Back to the Future. And of course we open gifts in the morning, right? I get it, and now we have our gifts. By late the afternoon, I had that entire Walkman disassembled on my bed, just completely disassembled into pieces. And that's when my father walks in and he sees it in pieces. He's like you destroyed it, you know. And I was just like, no, it was just the way my mind works, that I needed to know how the internals worked. And a little bit later, I took everything and put all the pieces back together, and I knew how the internals worked. And I had that Walkman for years, because when certain things would fail, I knew what failed in them. So for that reason, I was able to go in there and just basically, I was able to do my own oil change and rotate my own tires on that Sony Walkman. So when anything happened, I was able to do it myself, and I was able to keep it going for that much longer. So all right, so says, I did like you and picked up the 25 millimeter for Adorama for under $1,000. Yeah, but you see, like, that's why they were going. This one was under 500 bucks, like shipped to the house. And I was just like, you know what? Let's go ahead and check it out. But this is the whole thing now. Now I'm gonna ask you guys for advice, because this is something that just came up as well. You know what? Let me see if I could pull it up on this computer over here. This is the computer that I've been using for eBay. All right. Okay, because this came up on eBay, and now this got my head scratching. Okay. because there's so much available right now, but I'm like a kid at a candy store, and I gotta tell you, I'm blessed that we have so many options. But on eBay, the Surrey, right? I believe that's the way you pronounce it. Surrey, spelled Sirui, right? Surrey, that they make the anamorphic lenses for the Sony camera system, for the Sony E mount. Someone is selling two of these lenses, and basically the two anamorphic APS-C sizes that I would actually want, 24 millimeters, right? And with the anamorphic squeeze, you should get more of that 24 millimeter look. It kind of like undoes the crop factor, so to speak, but I digress. It's got the 24 millimeter f2.8 and the 50 millimeter f1.8 being sold in a bundle together for $400. So that's $200 each lens, which I've seen them go for, like on a good day, $300. Because I put it in the cart, I was given an offer of a discount of an extra $50. So they're selling both lenses to me for $350 with free shipping as like their best offer. So I was like, man, that seems like a really good deal. And I just looked at the listing, and like, I'm trying to find the flaw in it, and I'm not seeing any with any of the photos. Like, and they got some really close up of the glass and everything like that. So it seems like a pretty decent investment. Plus, you have the eBay guarantee as well, right? Like anything were to happen, right? So that's a really good deal. But then at the same time, right? This is on a completely different price bracket. The lenses that I've had my eye on are now available for sale, which are the Blazar Beetle lenses. And you know what? Let me see if I could bring that up. Oh no, I don't think I have a. You know what? I'll set one up. Go ahead and do that. I'm pulling up a what you call it? And I got so many things running on my head right now, but no, a Chrome browser window, and I'm just setting up the scene to actually put it on screen and not ruin City's God, so to speak. Okay, so now let's see, edit screen. What are we seeing here? Perfect. Okay, we don't need to see the camera. Primary display, no, let's do Google Chrome. Okay, good enough. These bad boys are available. Look at them. Oh, so these are the Blazar Beetle lenses. Okay, they basically go for about like $700 each, right? But if you were to buy now and you were to get, am I clicking that correctly? Oh wait, this thing in front of me. There we go. If we were to go buy now, right? And we got this bundle right here, basically $500 a pop. So you're getting all three, the 32, the 45, and the 65 Beetle lens in the case for $1,500. And I'm gonna tell you guys, I think this is gonna be Merry Christmas to me. Like, I think this is what I want to pick up for myself, because on top of this being like, they're super small, first of all, so they're not big at all. They're still cinema lenses. They're anamorphic at 1.33 squeeze, and they have a very cool feature where they actually twist so that they can be used in vertical format as well, even though they're anamorphic. So with content going vertical and things like that, and having that aspect, it's a new twist to them And like I said, instead of spending $600, so there's $600 each, um, you can save an extra $300 by buying the set, and that's what I'm looking at right now. That's what has my eye. Now I already saw Mr. Cam Mackey actually do a demonstration of the 32 millimeter Beetle lens. Uh, what was it? I think it was one of the events earlier this year where Brandon was actually live streaming. So he met up with Mr. Cam Mackey and they were demonstrating it at the Blazer booth. And since then, I was like, yo, this is amazing. And the price, even at $600, is still great. Like, to be honest with you. So, this is another option. And this is exactly what has my eye right now. So, but that these Suray lenses are also just such a great deal that I'm really torn because I'm saving for these, right? I'm saving for these right over here. So it's just like, all right. So now you know my thoughts. So let me know what you guys think. What would you do right now? You know, when it comes to these, because you're getting the same type of squeeze. You're getting the 1.33 anamorphic squeeze on the Suray. Oh, and this is the other kicker. These Beetle lenses are full frame. So they'll be working on both, you know, the APS-C Super 35, but then I want to move up and use them on my A7C Mark II and go full frame. That's also possible. So the one thing about this, right, is that Sony E-mount is the only one that I really can't put onto my Red camera because the Red starts at 18 millimeters and that's the flange distance of the E-mount lens. So it's literally like metal on metal, and I don't have any space to actually like lock the lens to the camera itself at all, which it sucks, but it is what it is. That's my interest though right now. Let me see what you guys are saying. Randy says, I run the 4K 30 on the Elgato Camlink, so I put the Ecamm Live Pro streaming settings to 60p. It helps with the stuttering. Okay, I might have to check that out because that might be a possibility. But thank you for acknowledging that you're seeing what I see here. You know, whenever I go to this shot, it's just so smooth, right? At the 1080 30. And you know what? Let's go ahead and do that right now before I continue. What I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna hop behind the cameras, right? Or behind my desk over here. I'll go to this shot. And when I'm back there, I'm going to be actually changing both my A7C Mark II and my FX30 from the 4K to the 1080 30. Let's go ahead. So I've switched them now. All right, so these are switched. And now when I come here, see, that's this camera right here. And now the Camlink is telling me it's actually doing 4K. 4K is the Camlink 4K is doing 1080 60 frames a second. So with the 60 frames a second, definitely is taking out all the stuttering. And that's this one. But then if I go to this one, which is the same thing. So now this is the FX30 at 1080 60. So the little stuttering is gone. It's still 4K output for the live stream. So you let me know if you see that much of a difference in the image, or does the lens and the setup still look good enough, even though, you know, it's not officially broadcasting the 4K out of the camera. So that's that shot. So let's see. So that's the A cam or the C cam. And that's this one. You know what? Let's go to the producer mode. And over here, we're going to do, this is the first one. And then we're going to do the side by side. So this one right here, which is to your left, A7C Mark II with my 7 Artisans lens. And then this one here, which is to your right, is the red camera with, no, the Sony FX30 with the red Pro lens, the 18mm T1.8. And now, no stuttering. See? Smooth. All right, so let's go back to it. And I'm gonna put this camera back here and then go back over here. Bam. Once again, guys, if you're still hanging out, make sure to hit the like button. It's highly appreciated. It's absolutely free. And if you want to see more of content like this, including next week's stream, which is gonna happen, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss it and mark it on your calendars. All right. So Gretchen says, "I spy a film camera on your desk behind the keyboard upright." Yeah, that's perfect. That's 2 for 2, Gretchen. But this is another thing. It is there, but I also made sure that it was visible from this shot as well. See? So I'm trying to do my best, try to be a bit sneaky, but also make sure to give you guys the ability to see where I'm hiding these things. Okay, so Gretchen's got 2 more points for this week. And like I said, I need to put all of this information into Notion so I could ask it of more questions, because man, I need a live stream assistant bad. You're very welcome. De nada, de nada. He's just saying thank you for the response and good luck, I guess, on all my things. Tim Butt 2. That's a funny name. So often I want people to stop referring to crop factor with Super 35, mainly because motion picture filmmaking has been traditionally done in 4 perf 35mm film. At Super 35, 18mm is 18. Simple. But that's not correct, because, you know, like, you can say that, you know, that 18mm is 18mm, but the field of view changes, which is what you have to adjust as far as a crop factor. And that's exactly, like, you can go to Red's website and put in the camera that you're using, you know, from Red, and the focal length and the lens that you're going to put on it, and it's going to give you all of these numbers to the equivalent. So whether you would like for it to be called that or not, it is what it is. But that's also why anamorphic lenses exist, right? Because we had a certain type of film stock back in the day, which is where it originates. So the 35mm film is 36mm by 24 when we use it in our standard film cameras, because we're using it horizontally, right? But what they did is that they wanted to make more out of the film and actually get it to run faster to actually make motion picture. So they took that same film stock and they put it vertically. So now you're actually cutting smaller slices, but the image is hypothetically on its side. And that's where we get Super 35. And then to add more light and more image to this now much thinner image is where we come with the anamorphic lenses, where we're getting wider field of views and we're squeezing it into this factor, right? Because now we're taking a wider image and throwing it onto that thinner, wide piece of film that is now going from horizontal but vertically. And as that's being shuttered and, you know, captured in a vertical format, is then you get the de-squeeze factor by having anamorphic lenses on the projectors themselves, which then regulate the image, thus giving you a high productivity and lowest cost for film, which was super expensive back in those days when all of this technology was being made. So that's like the history of it, but that's why it says, you know, there's nothing that I knock on Super 35, but to say that there's no such thing as crop factor, I think is incorrect. But like I said, that's my opinion, and that's just from my research, but to each his own. But nice to hear from you, Tim Butt 2. I really do like the name, though. Scotty's in the house saying hi to the crew and happy Saturday. We got Aiden in the house. What's up, buddy? What are you asking for? Aiden wants some dad time right now. Okay, you're hanging out here with us, okay? Okay, he also says, oh no, no, you're not gonna poke my eyes right now. VistaVision is the true full frame equivalent to motion picture filmmaking. Then at the point at 50 millimeter is 50 millimeter field of view and is only thing that is different based on the film gauge of focal length. Well, like I said, you could be absolutely correct, Tim. But at the same time, and that's funny because that's your name, Tim. But I really am enjoying your name, bro. It's not what's considered the norm of what we call full frame, you know, in working standards. Like when we all say, like, sure, full frame is what we consider the 35 by 24 millimeter set that we've used in traditional film cameras. Is just what is called, whether it's exactly that, no. And that's what I'm saying. Micro four thirds and 1 1/8 inch sensors and all these different, you know, like offsetting numbers, like micro four thirds. Like think of what's a four third? A four third is 1 1/3, right? But like if you're really talking about fractions, right? Four thirds is actually 1.33. But at the same time, you know, is just what's we normalize as far as I guess the standard that we call things just to identify them. Give me a quick second. Let me put this guy back before he, you know, rips my shoulder off. Okay, Aiden gave me permission to finish the show, so we're good. All right. Yep, Scott Rogers is in the house. Randy's saying what's up to him. Says the firmware reads the red mags. Yes, it does, and that's one of the things that led me down this rabbit hole. What I found out was that they actually have a conversion kit, which thanks to eBay, for some reason, I was able to see a listing that was no longer available. It really sucked because it would have saved me a lot of headaches. They were selling the red mags. And you know what? Let me see. Where did I put that box? So I can show you exactly which red mags they were. Because but yes, they're the red mags. They're not the red mini mags. So those are like the newer type, right? So it really has to do with the internals. But the original red mags that I think work for the Scarlet, right? And they have just like the wider metal ones. Those are the ones that are able to be kind of like reverse or compatible with the firmware, and it's the latest firmware on the red one. So I saw an entire kit, just to say, where you would replace the side, and I had already made my own kit, but for just standard SSDs, to try to get something better than the CF Express cards that I was able to find for it, right? So as soon as I was able to throw those hard drives in there, that's what gave me that idea. And as soon as I saw that that worked, I right away went to reverse engineering and I bought one of these red mags for $50. And once again, this shout out to Adorama. I gotta probably reach out to them because they've been really good as far as the things that I've been working on as of late. So when it comes to the red camera stuff, they've been on point. So I bought a hard drive from them, $50, 64 gigabytes, which is just a great deal on its own. And as soon as I got it, I opened it up and I saw that it had not a proprietary connection. It was just an adapter to a micro SATA. So I then went online and found a micro SATA to SATA adapter. The rest is history. As soon as I was able to put it onto the camera, it recognized it. I was able to format the drive, and I was in business with my first 64 gig hard drive connector. Then I reverse engineered and 3D printed everything else and made the system, which is what we're looking at over here. And that's what I have here, where I'm able to just, oh, I'm not gonna pull it out right now because I'm using the camera. So I would be able to unmount that drive, but right now I'm able to hit record on it, and we'd be able to be recording on the fly. So just everything's working on it. Super cool. The red mags are backwards compatible with the older camera, and because there was a system that was available, I didn't have the availability to get that system itself, so I made my own with the 3D printed parts and a couple of, you know, like adapters or converters, and now I 3D printed these little containers for those drives. And whenever I see another deal, because that's actually what I found a couple of more of these drives going for $50 from Adorama, and once the first one worked, I bought the other two, and that's what I have now. I have 3 for the entire set, but if ever I see another good deal for those red mags that are compatible with the Scarlet series, you understand, just the red mags, not the mini mags, but the red mags, the older ones, you'll be in business. You'll be able to put it on there. And I think the biggest ones that they came out with for the red mags were 256. So, you know, in the future, I'll pick up a couple of these 256 red mags for a decent price. And like I said, I'm gonna have plenty of media for this camera to just, you know, have me completely satisfied for from here on out and into the future. So excited. Oh, actually, I'll show you something else. I don't know what I did with it, but I actually made a dock as well. So the same way that I made a 3D printed like housing for the camera to hold it, I made a little docking station where you just be able to plug it into your computer and then just dock so that you can offload the data very easily. So I have the entire like retrofit kit for the red one, just like having a lot of fun with it. And like I said, and with the ability to change the mounts on the front, kind of like the Monstro series. Really cool. Really cool. All right, let me see where we're at here. He says I did the same thing with the VCR and our first PC. That's funny. He also says DM Colorist says eBay and Facebook Marketplace are dangerous. I am trying hard not to constantly go on there and pick up new old gear. Exactly, right? And that's why I said, like, as a camera junkie, I love taking stuff that would have been thrown away. Like this red one was a bit of a project. It was mostly once I got into this apartment that I had the ability, and with the move that I was like, you know what, let me hop on this project. But man, like I said, going from the cables and all these things every step along the way to be able to finally get decent media for it is just perfect. But yeah. Okay, so Tim also says, okay, went down that rabbit hole, and since the red 18mm and other red cinema lenses were only made for the Super 35, right? They would cover full frame. That means, that they would never, let me make sure I'm saying it right, never cover full frame. That means it's an 18mm on Super 35 no matter what. Won't cover full frame. Exactly. I do agree with that. Like, that's the thing that's unfortunate with this lens. But like I said, I bought it specifically for the red one. And now that I'm able to use it on APS-C Sony cameras, at least, you know, I have multi-function with the lenses, because that's one thing that I love to do, which is kind of like hot swap. I have the newer slash, what was the other? Metadapt metadapt adapter, right, for the Nikon Z mount, so that I can put my Sony lenses on there, which is a lot of fun because this lens that is full manual that I have on my E mount right here, I'm able to take the same exact setup and then throw it onto my Z30 and test it and to compare the actual same lens using a variety of different cameras, and I have just a blast doing that. Randy says, good to go with the no stuttering. Yeah, it makes a huge difference, but the difference is to see if the image quality really degrades that much, which I don't think it does, which is what's very impressive, right? So we'll see. Okay, it says the RPP has better contrast performance in the SBS, unless that's the camera. It could be. Now, if I'm reading this correctly. But you know what? This is the whole thing. You know what? To answer that correctly, like I do understand what you're saying, but then at the other sense, like there is a difference. This lens right here has to be opened up a lot more because there's a lot more filters and the teleprompter, like just pieces of glass that are causing, and even a CPL filter that's on there just so that it can actually not pick up the glare from the teleprompter itself. So you know, you have lens, then you have I do have a mist filter on there to give it the look, right? So there's a mist filter, then there's a CPL filter and a teleprompter all in front of this lens, which has darkens the image so much that I have to obviously open up the aperture. And this guy, because he's got nothing in front of him and is just a T1.8, like I said, I have to stop it down to f5.6, which I believe is boosting the contrast as well. So that's where I think this image is a bit more washed out, but that also has to do with the mist filter, so on and so forth. So I would have to do a comparison, but mostly with the lenses themselves to see exactly how they would look different, you know, from one camera to the next. Okay, so Gretchen says, wild guess for the thumbs up attached to the lens on the top row of the lens wall. There's a black rectangle on the end closest to the eCam sign. Then next row looks like the thumbs up is attached to that lens. Well, Gretchen, you're wrong. But you're right. Man, Gretchen got the clean sweep today. She got that one, and that one's worth 2 points. The reason why you're wrong, Gretchen, is because it's connected to a battery, not a lens. There we have it, a little sideways BC, trying to get a little tricky, and that one did well last week. Nobody got it, so. But what I think also helped, it was this camera right here, because the sharpness on this, you know, didn't let this be lost in the bokeh. You know what I'm saying? So you were able to see it. But good job, Gretchen. Another high five. Gretchen got the clean sweep with 4 points this week. Man, I really got to put this together. But good thing that I'm saying all of these things aloud, so when I get my transcriptions done correctly, I'll be able to just, you know, magically ask AI to actually help me out, like help a brother out so I can make this list together. Because guys, I was setting up the live stream today, and 8 o'clock I'm sitting in front of this computer and I passed out, guys. I fell asleep setting up the live stream, of like how much this week has run me down. But of course, I will never miss the live stream because this is my favorite place to be, hands down, absolutely, all the time. And it's because you guys make it the best place. Okay, so he says, dude, that's awesome. The media was holding me back on picking up R1 for nostalgia's sake. Brother, you know what, if you pick one up, what I will do for you, no lie, I will actually 3D print one of these kits for you. And you just reach out to me on a DM, you know, because we go in from the crew, from the from the creative fam and everything like that. So you make sure like you reach out to me on IG, and send me your address, and I'll send you a kit. I got one going out to another person as well. So I already got all of the things set up. I'm 3D printing that, and like I said, I did a pretty good job. It's gonna be black with a silver logo on it, but it'll be the retrofit kit. And I'll send you a couple of these cases as well, so that when you get your media, you'll be ready to go on it. Just like I said, shoot me a DM, brother, as soon as you get the camera, when you get the camera, and I'll be able, or be very happy to hook you up with that retrofit kit. And look, I said it on the live, so it's my word, right? This is the camera. Yep. This is the camera, but I'm reading comments over here. Look, and I gave you more incentive, because I told you if you get it, I got you, brother. So you see, that's all I'm gonna say. Well, that's what we're talking about here. I was able to retrofit media that is more easily, readily accessible right now, because the red mags for the Scarlet series are still dime a dozen. You can find a bunch of them. And like I said, as long as they're not the mini mags, because that's when they change the internal SSDs, and it's just like it's less compatible. I'm not saying that they might not be, but I haven't been able to test anything on that side. And I know that this is just slot in. And if you have your own 3D printer, you'd be able to, get the files and 3D print as many of these enclosures as you need for as much media as you need. And like I said, these actually have also been running a lot better, because I got the hard drive for the red camera system. And of course, those are spinning drives. They're definitely not going to run as fast as SSDs. So this is the best media that I think we'd be able to find for it. And it's media that we'll be able to access and find in the future, not only today, but use it for now and future purposes. Yeah, and like I said, with the little docking station, like this is a working camera. Like you can record, and as soon as you're done, like let's say you fill up the drive, you're able to take it out, throw the next drive in, and already start offloading media, because I also built a dock so you can connect it to the computer right away. He goes, "Hey man, that's what's up." He goes, "Yeah, I was hoping to get a new mini mags from that one company, and I had looked at them as well. Trust me, I fell down that rabbit hole. Is making with the old red mags too. Maybe they would love to pick up an old R1 MX for old time's sake, brother." And also eBay. You're gonna find a couple there. There's a couple of good systems that I seen there under like under $2,000. I think one was like 1,500. The other one was 1,700. A lot of them come with like batteries and some kits and a lot of things, including like the monitors and things like that. So I would recommend. I haven't had the need for it because I have one, but I was even looking into like, should I pick up another one just to like have like a really full set of a working red camera. But I think I'm doing well enough here, so I'll let you pick those up. Buy them so I don't. Okay, buy them so I don't. It says I'm keeping an eye on them. I'm getting mini mags wherever I can find for the Monstro. All right, so definitely. I believe I did a live stream on it, like yeah, a couple of weeks ago. It's gonna be listed under how I fixed my red camera, and that's the one that I actually show you like in detail the parts that I printed, how I did the mags and everything like that. So I read ahead, but Randy's congratulating Gretchen for the sweep. But this is what I'm laughing. Paul is putting words in my mouth. That was the prize. He says, "Dude, you're the best." I'm gonna take you up. I'll let you know. Absolutely, brother. I'm happy that I'm able to share that, because the most important thing is that to have another enthusiast that's interested in the same thing, because there's not a lot of people who have this camera or are interested in it. But you know, someone like yourself who's gonna want to get it for the nostalgia's sake, but still want it in a working manner, like, I got you, brother. So absolutely, it'll be my pleasure. Okay, so Mookie says, remind me to never have a Where's Waldo book reading competition with Gretchen. Yeah, she got the clean sweep this week, though, with the extra bonus point. Oh, and that is very true. Look what she says. She's a retired children's librarian, and I have six grandkids, including Aiden. That's very true, because she's adopted Grandma Goo. I have all those books memorized. That's so funny. She'd be like, he's on the upper right hand corner in page 63 of Where's Waldo Takes Over the World. Like, she's gonna give you the exact position. All right, man. Thanks for hanging out. Like I said, you guys make this place the place I want to hang out. And yeah, Christmas is right around the corner. So is Black Friday. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, if I can get the Sirui lenses down, like, I'll put an offer, you know, for like $325, you know, maybe around Black Friday if they're still available. Never know. Strike while the iron's hot. So I was saving you money. Yep. He says he'll try. Exactly. He will try. All right. So now, even though we got some people heading out because we are 15 minutes past the hour, I'm still not going to not do what we always do. So let me take down this Chrome window and bring up this one, so that then we could hit this button right here and go, boom, Cities God. Channels that I think you should go and watch. And I'm on the wrong lens. This one. Let's do this because I'm reading it. So, Cities God, channels that I think you should go and watch. Did I hit the right one? There we go. All right. And this week's Cities God, let me take that. So, that's not there. Is Luke Forsyth. Now, Luke is a camera junkie, as you can see. He's someone that I think I subscribed to his channel about 4 months ago. I was looking at which one? Oh, it was this video right here about this zoom lens. It was very interesting, and once I saw his content, I was like, oh, gotta hit him up, and I subscribed to his channel right away. He's got quite a few interesting. This one a couple months ago, the 7 levels of filmmaker, really was a very interesting it was like eye-opening when it comes to it, because you know what we consider filmmaking, right? Like Mr. Beast's level 2, which is very, very interesting on the list, right? But I digress. But yeah, like, this is this week's Cities God. This is a photographer, filmmaker. I believe he's won some awards, but this is his YouTube channel where I've liked his way of presentation, and as well has a lot of useful information. So if you haven't heard of him before, let me be the one to introduce you to Mr. Luke Forsyth. This week's Cities God, channels that I think you should go and watch. Yep, and we've done it. And we go over here, we hit that button. This is when we go. We have completed episode 258. And if you're saying, what is that? That is 258 consecutive weeks of the Camera Junkie live stream every single Saturday without skipping a beat. And like I've mentioned now for the 3rd time, is because of all of you amazing people here hanging out here with me, making this my favorite place to be. So this is the time, if you haven't, to do all the YouTubery things, like, subscribe, mark it down on your calendars, because next Saturday we'll be doing episode 259 as we continue on our way to 5 years of consecutive live streamings, which is, where has the time gone, right? Like, 5 years of every single Saturday of the Camera Junkie live stream. And even though I've attempted to do big events, I'm gonna really try to do my darndest to make this the best celebration for 5 years, because that's a huge milestone, guys. Like, I'm not the best in boasting for myself at times and doing things that, and I've had a lot of distractions in life that have gotten in the way from me doing the things that I want to do. But 5 years, guys, man, we're inching ever so closely to that mark, and it's something that I'm very proud of. Like, no matter what has happened, no matter where I've been, like trips to the hospital just hours before the live streams, being out of town on the road, no matter what, we've always ended up sometimes a little late, right, in Orlando, finding Wi-Fi, and even live streaming from hotel bathrooms. We've done it all on this live stream every single week, and I thank you again for making it possible. So this is where I leave you guys. We've done it, episode 258 in the books, and I can't wait to see you here for episode 259. So, as always, guys, take care of yourselves and each other, and I can't wait to see all of your smiling faces while we do it all over again right here next week, same time, same place, on the Mr. Camera Junkie YouTube channel. So until then, talk to you.